Hi guys, welcome to the third episode of Uma America Coffee Chat. Here with me, Lana Meilana, and today, guess what? We will have a very special guest, and we will talk about the education system here in our country, Timor-Leste. And it is from the perspective from an international teacher. And let us all welcome Miss Melanie Anderson.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Melanie.
Hi.
How do you do?
I am doing so well, thank you. How are you?
It's such a pleasure to meet you, and I am great. So, Miss Melanie, would you please introduce us to our lovely audience a little bit about yourself and your background, and what is your mission here in our country, Timor-Leste, and how long you will be last?
Sure. So my name is Melanie Anderson. Usually I go by MJ, Maestra Melanie. I am from Wisconsin in the U.S., which is in the north. Not sure if you're familiar. I am a member of the Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Ojibwe. We are a tribe of Native Americans in the north of America. And aside from assistant teaching English while I'm here in Timor-Leste, another big part of my mission that is really important to me is sharing my culture with everyone here. My Fulbright started at the end of February, and it will go until the end of November, so just under 10 months.
So, Miss Melanie, what have you been doing lately, and which area of job do you focus more as for right now?
Right now, throughout my entire grant, I am assistant teaching English at UNTL, the National University.
Great.
So I work with students in reading skills, writing skills, public speaking, grammar classes, writing workshops, all sorts of things. And right now we're focusing a lot on some public speaking skills. We have an event coming up to share some cultures and folk tales, things like that, from the different groups throughout Timor-Leste, but also from my tribe in the US. So the students right now, my students, are working on their storytelling skills, but specifically through the lens of public speaking, because this is hopefully going to be a big event. So the students are having a lot of speaking practice right now.
As we deeply talk about the education context, when you first appear here in our country, what is the first impression you have for our education system?
I was very lucky when I first came. I was able to meet several students before I actually got into the classroom. So I was able to, hear from the students how they felt about their own education, how their own education was doing well, what it wasn't doing well, the pros and cons. I have a pretty big benefit in that this Fulbright allows young people to go abroad, and because I'm at a university, I'm pretty close in age to most of my students. And I think that really allows my students to be very open with me and open with me right away. And so they were able to be very honest with me about what they felt was serving them and what wasn't really serving them in the education context. So I was able to see quite clearly what my students needed and what they didn't really need right away.
As you had been going through many of struggles, ups and downs, what is the hardest challenge you find as an international teacher here in our country?
The hardest challenge? I think the hardest challenge for me at the start was figuring out what to focus on in the classroom. Even though, like I said, my students were very clear to me about what they wanted to focus on, what they wanted to learn, what they could benefit from. There wasn't a lot of guidance on how to lead my classroom or what needed to be taught in terms of a curriculum standpoint. I think that is one issue that my students had also pointed out to me, was that they felt like their curriculum was not, it didn't go in an intuitive straight line. So I felt like I was kind of dropped right in the middle, and I wasn't sure what all of my students needed. But after getting to know my students for a few weeks and working with the students at the different levels that they need, I think I've really hit my balance, and it's been really helpful being able to meet with the students as needed and having class sizes ranging from just 10 students to like 30 students, and that's been helpful too.
Fabulous. As you have been going through for your teaching process and you observe a lot of the students, so how would you define the Timorese students and which type of students are they?
Like anywhere, there is a variety of students. I think that's true of anywhere. Everywhere has students who are super dedicated, come to every class that I offer. I teach workshops, which they're not required, so students don't have to come to my workshops. They're totally optional. So, of course, the students who want extra practice will be coming. These are also the students that tend to be participating in class, raising their hands, asking questions, coming to office hours. Of course, they're very hardworking students, but like anywhere, there's also students who are maybe a little shyer, don't want to be as involved, and that is also totally understandable. Any country, anywhere has the same mix, but all the students that I work with, I think are excellent.
So, what do you think, like in Timor-Leste government, should focus more in the area of education system?
I think one area that the government could possibly focus on in terms of the public education system is standardizing the curriculum from the start, whether that's pre-K, kindergarten, whatever that may be, elementary, all the way up to through compulsory education, so through secondary school and maybe even into university. That is one thing that I've learned while I'm here about like how the education system works, and it's a little confusing how it like kind of switches languages from Tetun to Portuguese, and I've heard some students say that they just kind of felt a little left behind when they weren't really ready for that transition. And then of course making sure that the curriculum flows through all of the steps and builds on itself as you get higher and higher would be really beneficial for students. And that's actually an issue that we focus in the U.S. or that we have in the U.S. as well. But I think if Timor-Leste was able to really focus in on those two issues, I think the students of Timor-Leste would really, really benefit.
And we've got some questions from our social media.
Oh, fun!
And the question is, based on your observation as an international teacher, do you think Timorese students and youth people are already enough to develop and work for the broader Timor-Leste in the next 5 or 10 years coming?
I definitely think that they are. I think that the desire is there, the spirit is there, and I think any type of large change like this, when you're looking for a societal change or economic stimulus or whatever you're looking for in these terms when we're talking about students, young people, it really, you need determination behind that. Of course, a good education system is vital, but if the people aren't willing to do anything, nothing will happen. And I think now we are really at this time, Timor-Leste is really at this time where people want to see development, people want to see change, people want to see improvement. And so I definitely think that Timor-Leste is going to be seeing some changes and development very drastically in the next 5 to 10 years. And I think that the students are definitely ready to see that change and ready to make that change happen.
Aside from all your experiences as a tourist in your country, what do you like most about Timor-Leste and what are the things that you don't like?
Oh, don't like. Well, I have had a good amount of experience traveling around and living in Southeast Asia before. I will say everybody has been so friendly. I'm also just a smiley person, so maybe it's just that like I'm smiling, so everybody just smiles back at me, and that's really nice. But it is so beautiful here. Everybody that I have met has been so friendly. Like all of my Timorese friends are always willing to, meet up with me for a walk if I want, or give me suggestions on like, oh, you should try this restaurant, or you should go here. Have you been to this province, and things like that. And that is like so nice. I love the willingness to be kind and share information, meet up with me for like coffee and stuff. It's been just such a good time. So I think the people are definitely the best part. But as somebody who's also like very active, I love to swim, I love to hike, things like that. The nature here is amazing. It's so gorgeous here.
Wonderful. So what is the biggest message do you have for Timor-Leste, especially to the Timorese students out there?
Okay. I think two things that I really stand by in my life, and this is just for any young person. This isn't just for Timor-Leste, but I mean, if this is a message that speaks to you or any other students out there, two things that I would say. One, the only thing you can do is your best. The only thing you can do is your
That's
best.
true. That's very
That's
true.
all you can do. And as a student, you you have to take the education system as it is, but of course you always have power over how hard you're working. You always have power over how you're studying. There are free resources out there that are available to you, and if there is something that you want to be working for, you absolutely can. However, I would advise against being too harsh on yourself. You don't need to compete with anybody else because the only thing you can do is your best, and I think that's something to keep in mind. Then the other thing that I would say, and I say this to everybody, my students in the US, I say this to my siblings, everybody, you never know unless you ask. You never know unless you ask. There are opportunities out there that you would never know of unless you ask somebody. People are so willing to help. People are willing to help you. They are. But I think a lot of people are afraid of asking for help, whether that's help for studying, scholarships, just whatever it may be. I mean, people are really willing to help you. And so I really encourage everybody, students, ask your teachers, ask your parents, ask your siblings, ask your cousins. If you need something, the only thing you can do is ask. And I really encourage you, don't be afraid, ask for help.
Yeah, I agree a lot with the Miss Melanie statement. It is not about like a competition that you are competing with someone else. It's more about like you are competing with yourself, trying to be better than you ever did before in the past. And I think we have come to the end of our today's session, and this is such a grateful time to have a conversation with you, and especially with our lovely audience, and we will hope to see you in the next time. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much.